Hi, and welcome to the Sunday News. I'm Belgrath97. This is
Second Class Elitist.
We are here in LXG headquarters, even though it doesn't have a sign back here because it fell. Yeah, all right. But we're here, and it's Sunday. Hopefully, this is up on Sunday. You know, barring catastrophes.
I got enough time. It may happen.
All right, cool.
Sunday's a long day. I mean, you got a whole 24 hours. You know, that's a pretty good target window.
That is. I mean, as long as it's up before midnight.
I'm not saying, hello, it's 9 a.m.
That'd be a goal one day. We're gonna literally just open it with it. Hello, it's 9 a.m.
I've got them up.
No, but I want them to actually call it in video so we have a deadline to meet to get it up with.
Well, when you get back around to editing and putting them up, you can do that.
Fair enough. So, yet another week of relatively small amount of news.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. It's holiday season. We know certain companies are even like closed. Like Weird, I don't think is even open yet.
Nope, not yet.
So.
Not until the 5th.
Right.
Hassle Free, I believe, is still shut down.
So yeah, and
those are companies that are even still open.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
coming.
get to that.
So we're gonna start with a bit of personal news here in LXG headquarters. We have 1 week to go in our campaign, and woo!
And you're almost done losing.
I am done losing because I pre-played my last game.
Oh, really? What was the result?
A tie. Yes, folks, I went
So
in
you went
8
0
games.
and 1 and 7.
Yep.
And 8.
Oh, 7 and 1.
Yeah.
Out of 8 games. Yep. 7 and 1. I used to think I knew how to play this game. I'm just saying, but apparently I don't.
All right.
So, but actually, it's.
Oh wait, that was against me, wasn't it?
Yes.
I told you I'm sick.
Yes, I've tied against you, sir.
Right, I tied.
Yeah.
I tied, apparently.
Yes. Okay.
Good cold medicine. Good cold.
Good cold medicine.
Yeah.
All right, so, it looks like we pretty much know who our top 3 are going to be. No, like, I don't think there's any way it's going to not pan out to the way. Like, we've done the points hammering.
Yeah.
And we've 1 game left to play, and it is actually breaking down that the top 4 players are all going to basically be playing each other. However, no matter how it breaks out, it looks like Allie's going to win overall because she's got more hobby points than anyone else, and we've run out. And Token Gamer Chick has run out of models to paint, so she can't catch up.
One left.
She's got one. She does have one left. What's the one left?
Worth
the
6
Soul
points.
Warden, only 4.
Only 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
50 millimeter base, only 75 points.
Oh.
Not a character.
Yeah.
Only 4 points.
Only 4 points. So that's gonna do it. And
Yeah.
she's up on you by 8.
Mm-hmm.
And
So you take that down to 4. You can get a differential in games of 2.
Best you can do is gain 6 points on her 8-point lead as
Yeah.
far as the overall.
So Allie's winning overall,
Yep.
9 points, no matter what.
Token Gamer Chick will end up winning most hobby points because she's got more hobby points than anyone else besides version 1 overall.
Right.
And Merrick is going to win Best General, and if he had painted his stuff, probably would have had a shot at overall.
You know, I seem to remember that's been a motif with him.
I know.
In that we had a tournament many years ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Our paint and play campaign, which was really awesome.
Our paint and
We should
play
do that
campaign. Well, I thought this was going to be one, and then nobody got their crap until it was over.
Well, that is actually true. Next time we have to do like we did with the paint and play.
I
you
agree.
got entered by showing all your stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
Rather than, and I'll be the first one to admit, I literally still have stuff that hasn't arrived.
Yeah. Well, again, though, part of that is it wasn't just everybody ordering late. Part of it was it's tough getting stuff in December.
Yeah. So, but anyway, he has more campaign points than anyone else, and literally, if he loses his game, the best Ally or Token Gamer Chick could do in their games is to tie him for battle points.
Right.
Which is all pretty. You know
Which
what?
then means that they get the tiebreaker because the tiebreaker is hobby points. So
But they're also already getting something else.
Right. So that's why I'm saying it is possible for one of them to technically win for battle points, except that you go with the other prize anyway.
Anyway, right. So yeah.
We're playing for the technicality.
We are playing for the technicality. You know, I will say, even though I did not win a game, I thought the campaign played pretty well. He's still struggling with the fact that I did not win a game. I will say something I learned in this campaign. First off,
sir, is this your objective card? Nope.
No.
Is this your objective card?
Nope.
Is this your objective card? Nope.
All right.
Is this your Nope.
All right, my last game, I should have won. I had 5 turns to get 2 objective points, and my opponent was tabled.
Yep.
Drew 5 cards. None of them were things that I could do without killing a model.
Yep.
I literally got my tying victory point on the last card I drew, because it was the only objective I drew in that entire time that I could achieve without killing a model.
Yep.
What do? You can't. I should have won that game. Yeah, literally. I'm done. It is what it is.
It was a thing of beauty.
And
it really was.
I'm not saying I played perfect games, because Lord knows I didn't. But there were a number of games where I tabled my opponent and lost the game.
Oh, no. There were 2.
That's a number.
2 out of 8. That's a number.
Hey, that's 25% of my
I
games.
only actually lost 6 of them. 6 is a number.
6 is a number.
You know what's not a number?
What?
Technically?
Yeah.
Your win count.
No, 0 is a number.
It is not. It's a placeholder.
No, it is a number.
It
It is a real number.
It is
In
real.
mathematics, it is a real number. It is a rational number.
Actually, I do not believe it is a real number because it is impossible to divide it by itself to get 1.
Oh, it's a real number. I'm positive it's a real number. Like that's got me questioning my math, classes.
This is the math teacher over here, boys and girls.
No, I'm positive it's a real number. 0 is a real number. It is not a whole number,
Correct.
but it is a real number and it is a
It's
rational
neither
number.
a whole number nor an integer. You are correct.
Yes. See, all right. I knew I was right. Trying to
No,
confuse
you were
me.
right on what it is not. You were not right on what it is.
It is a real number and a rational number.
A real number is a number that is divisible by itself to create 1. 0 is not divisible, therefore it cannot be a real number.
I don't think that's the real definition of a real number.
We will Google it later.
Yes, we will. We will actually Google this later. I have my phone. I was going to do it now, but I'm not. We're going to continue on with Sunday news.
We got a short show. We might be able to fit it in.
Might be able to fit it in. I was going to say, before I was rudely interrupted with the whole, number of my games comment over here, that the game is dramatically different at each point level.
Oh, it is, and I love it.
And I thought that was really cool. Like the traditional campaign or not campaign play, tournament play is 500 points. And don't get me wrong, Dark Age is a game written for tournament type players.
Yes.
So 500 points is probably going to be the most common game played. But it was interesting to play a 250 point game.
Yeah.
It was interesting to play a 1,000 point game.
Interesting in that it was interesting to try to figure out a list that might be able to win at.
Right,
250 points.
At 250 points, Token Game, excuse me, I apologize, Allie wrote a list, not trying to be a jerk, where we all went, I don't know how to beat that at 250 points.
Yep.
Like,
and she couldn't see how we couldn't figure out how to win.
Until she played 2 games with it and went, oh, I won both of those, did I?
Yep. By the way, she's actually doing a lot better with the game. Like
it's starting to
somewhere in the 1,000-point games, it has finally clicked
on how
to play this thing.
Good. Because, I mean, it is unfortunate, but she did not really enjoy most of her games.
No.
Of all of our players, she is the least tournament type player.
Yeah, she's the least competitively oriented.
Right. So a game that is very built for competitive type play was hard for her to wrap her brain around.
But
she did well.
She did well, and honestly, she finally did. Like, I finally broke her of the habit that I've been working on for 3 years of. She keeps trying to play horde armies because she doesn't want to rely on just 1 or 2 models being successful.
Right.
That's in her brain as her rationale.
Right.
However, at the same token, she is very acutely aware of every time her dice fail to succeed at something.
Right.
Which, when you bring a minion-based army,
they're going to fail more often.
You should fail 70% of the time.
Right. You have to go in accepting you're going to fail a lot more than you're going to succeed. You're only going to win because you can do more things than your opponent.
Whereas if you play a small elite force, the inverse is true, and you succeed 70% of the time. So,
but when things go wrong, they're going to go wrong.
They're going really wrong.
Right.
But because of that, now that I got her to play a couple more, big boy lists,
she feels a little bit more comfortable.
She's enjoying playing the big boy lists because it's not, I'm going to suck this turn and this turn and this turn and this turn.
Right. At least she has a really good chance of succeeding on everything she does.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, I don't know if you guys remember, but we're just gonna. I mean, Allie was playing the Prevailers list, and she brought Archangels.
Yeah.
She really played the Archangel list. Let's be honest here.
She pretty much played the only Archangels list.
Yeah, right. I mean,
like she didn't play Prevailers. She didn't play like the Archangel, like even just like the Archangels and units that support them. She played the Archangels, and I can't fit another Archangel in this point total.
Yes.
So let me fill in with other things.
I mean, and I got to tell you, it makes me wonder if Archangels should be more prevalent in tournaments because they're beastly. They were really, really hard to beat.
Especially if you were to take Gabriel and
Michael, right?
no. Gabriel and the guys.
Raphael?
No, the guys with the Banes.
Banes, yes.
Yeah. A Gabriel and Banes list?
Ooh.
Guys, somebody out there.
Run that, please.
Look into this.
Because
Jackie.
Jackie.
If you're watching, I know you like your Banes. Just build a 500-point list, Banes and Gabriel, please.
Put Joan away for a minute. Just try it once.
Just once.
See if it works for you.
You're gonna like it. Because he makes them better at what they do, and they make him just straight up lethal.
Beastly. Oh, and by the way, heal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a punk. Excuse me, I'm sick. I also want to mention that Token Gamer Chick played her Jagiri, and actually played some Jagiri in her Jagiri as we got the high points list.
Once you got to 750, there were actually Jagiri
in her list. I know.
But it was a Soul Warden so that she could bring another fire.
So she could bring a fire elemental. By the way, which is my fault because I'm the one who gave her the idea. I'm like, oh no, you can bring 2 at 750 points. She went, no, I can't. I said, yes, you can. And she was like, no. I proved it to her, and then she did, and everyone else hated me.
Are you bringing are you bringing 4 fire elementals for your final game?
No, Allie killed them all. So
they're not characters.
No, but I don't have any more heroes. So I mean, get Ratseed a little. I might just finish
Ratseed
painting.
that's right. Ratseed wasn't getting love because I had already given all of her characters, all of her hero level. Because I did mention I lost most of my games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, or all of them.
I forgot that you can't fit 4 fire elementals, the Soul
and
Warden, and
Ratseed.
Ratseed.
And Ratseed.
Yeah.
Yeah, each fire elemental is 400 or 200 points, and Ratseed is 200 points. So if I didn't have to bring the Soul Warden in order to bring 4 of them, I could just have Ratseed and 4. That's an look at the map.
Where's
it's
the
so
no
nice
So
to meet.
so what you're saying is you want us to play an 1100-point game.
Yeah, so she could fit both, all of them. Oh, I get an extra 100 points too.
Yeah.
Like it's 4 fire elementals, Ratseed, and a Soul Warden.
I think I'd take my new Kukulkani list. That new Kukulkani list I was telling you about?
Yeah.
I think that might have a shot at it.
Hey, that
I
was
take
actually
2
on a
of those.
streak.
Right, you can take 2 of the Capricorns. So I've got 2 big guys. You take 2 of the priests. I'm generating 4 a token. Turn 2, they're both upgraded.
Am I hearing a throwdown on this one?
Maybe there'll be a bonus game at the campaign.
Bonus game? Okay.
All right. I think I'd like to try
Encore
it.
game.
I think I'd like to try it because I know how heinous her list is, but I think with that amount of bioenergy being generated a turn, I'm wondering if I could buff enough to make up the difference.
Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Now, my last game against Merrick will actually just be what all I have painted, since I did paint everything and they're all beautiful. So it's going to get
awesome.
all the stuff that is the pretty.
That is awesome. And then Merrick played his Slavers, or should we just say he played his Hands of War?
Yeah, he played his Hands of War list.
I hate those things. I played Merrick 3 times in the last 4 weeks. Okay. No, 3 times in the last 5 weeks. Excuse me. And every time I played him, he made 70% of his parries.
Yep. But even without that, those Hands of War are no joke.
But 70% of his parries.
Yeah, these things
On an
happen.
under 50% chance.
These things happen.
I'm bitter.
You're a little salty.
I am a little salty. All right. Anyway, I just wanted to go over the 3 lists that went well.
Yep.
I think those are 3 lists that. I think that Slaver's list is good for competitive play.
Yes.
I think Allie's list is good for competitive play, and I think Token Gamer Chick's list is good for competitive play. And I'd like to see more of those lists in actual tournaments to see how they do against some more elite. I mean, not that we're not trying to win, but we're not the best of the best in the country.
So you saying my scarred list isn't up to snuff? I mean, I am 4th on the board there.
4th out of 8.
Yeah.
So you made top half.
Yeah.
Okay. Just saying. One of those people didn't win a game.
And they're not in the top half.
No, I'm just saying. But
and they're you.
And do you really want to, make that big claim about how you beat me?
To be fair, actually, I'm in the top half, and more than half of my games are played against the other.
You are not
players.
in the top half, sir. You are 5th out of 8.
No, I'm not.
17, 17,
because
19.
Togg's final game has already been played and mine hasn't.
That's right. I forgot. Okay. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So there.
But if you lose,
yeah,
you are not in the top half.
Right. But at the moment, I am. And when I win, I will be in the top half.
Who are you playing again?
Allie.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying, he just talked a bunch of smack about Allie. I hope she wins now. All right.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna happen?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have to win. To win, she doesn't have to win.
Right.
So she's not going to be as motivated. Anyway.
Honestly, that works to her benefit. She won't be as nervous going into the game.
This is true.
But no, it's honestly, and the other thing I want to bring up, I am the only player on the board. Merrick can gain this title next week as well. I'm the only player on the board that has beaten both Token Gamer Chick and Allie with that army list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been beaten by Second Class, and I've been beaten by Allie.
Yeah, Merrick didn't beat her.
Nope.
Merrick lost.
Yep.
So if Merrick wins next week, he and I are the only two people that beat the first and second place.
Yep. I tabled one of the two.
You tabled
me.
And lost.
And lost the game because you couldn't draw.
Because I couldn't draw an objective card.
Is this your secondary objective card?
No.
Sir? Is this
No, apparently not.
Is this your secondary?
Nope.
No, how about this one?
Nope.
This one maybe?
Nope.
Maybe this one?
Nope. That one, yeah. All right, anyway. So, that's our campaign.
I'm so glad we have so many of these decks,
Yes.
because
you mixed them all together now.
No, all the other ones are put away. This is the only one that these are coming from.
That one's not put away.
And I'm not throwing them that far. They're not getting anywhere near the other side of the table.
Fair enough. That one did.
But it all the way over there.
All right. Anywho.
Is this your card, sir?
No.
No? Okay.
I'll guarantee you whatever card you pull, the answer is no.
The answer is no.
All right. All right. So, other news. Oh, I do want to wrap up one thing about the campaigns. We are going to do a full This Is Not a Test campaign as our next campaign. Woo! And we're all very excited for that. We were trying to do concurrent campaigns and it didn't really work because Dark Age games just took too long.
And honestly, there was just not enough time around the holidays. So we are going to do This Is Not a Test campaign next. We're all very excited about that. I'm really, really excited to play a game that is, while Dark Age does lend itself to some story, This Is Not a Test is all about story. Yeah.
And all about, that type of dynamic.
Dark Age is a great competitive game where it lacks, a certain amount of campaign story play. Where This Is Not a Test has much more of the campaign and story play, not quite as much of the competitive element.
And I'm looking forward to that level of gaming. So that'll be cool. All right. News. Kickstarters. All right, so there are 3 Kickstarters that we thought were worthy of mentioning to people.
Yep.
The first one is Infamy one-shots.
Well, 2 and an asterisk, technically.
Because the other one really hasn't started yet.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So we're telling you about one that's coming. All right, but first one, Infamy one-shots. They are it's already up, it's already funded. It is a goblin rider on a
it's
some creature thingy.
On a chocobo surrogate.
Yeah. Really cool models. They look very interesting. They are 32 scale. Things, according to the measurements, is about 60 millimeters tall.
Right. The answer to that is, how can it be 60 millimeters tall and be a 32 millimeter scale figure? It's a figure that's riding a thing.
Right.
So.
It's a big thing. But one of the things we noticed about it, and that you mentioned when we were looking at it, is we were surprised at the cost.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's 32 millimeters.
Right. But it's resin.
It's resin.
Right.
Which isn't bad. The cost is either low or high, depending on how you look at things.
Okay.
It is a single figure.
Sure.
That is going to be going for $37 US, I believe.
Yes.
And 27 pound.
Yes.
Okay. So why are we saying this is both low and high? You pick one.
I will pick high. Why is it high?
Yes.
Okay, so it is high because it's a piece of resin. I mean, and no matter what the quality of it is, it's still resin. It's a single figure. It is a 32 millimeter. You're paying $40 for one model. And
it actually doesn't particularly tie to a game.
All right, it's not tied to a game. Like, you're literally paying $40 for a model that you would have to find a use for somewhere else.
Right.
Because it does not fit in their Infamy game, as far as we can tell. They're just like literally one-off artist type shots.
Right.
So it's a little high in that case because I look at it and I go, for $40, there's a lot of other things I can buy multiples of stuff with it. For $40, I can go buy a unit of 5 models for Warzone, or I could go buy for $40, I could go buy starter box for Malifaux. Practically, I mean,
a camp box for Ark World.
Right, a camp box for Ark World. I mean, there's a lot of for $40. There's a lot of things you could buy. I mean, there's a lot of bigger models you can get from like Pulp City. They're bigger. Their big guys aren't even $40.
Right.
So it's a bit pricey. It's a good quality model. I'm not saying it's not, but for a model that I may not have a use for, it's a bit. It's a little too artsy for me, I guess, is really what it comes to. Like, you have to wonder for the art, and for $40 I could find other better uses of it. I don't have that much disposable hobby income.
Right.
All right, so why is it too
The flip side of that,
why too low?
why it's actually cheap. And for this, you have to look at the elitist quality of the model. It is a limited edition resin figure. Limited edition resin figures are always going to be expensive. Mm-hmm. It is specifically sculpted with the artiste painter in mind. There are a lot of strong details. There's a lot of contrasting elements to the figure. So it's a piece that is going to lend itself well to competitive painting.
Okay.
So you're talking about higher end paintings.
Okay.
This is not a base coat dip and done figure. This is not your normal Wargaming figure. This is much closer to a bust or a limited resin series figure.
Okay.
Because it is in fact resin and limited production.
Okay.
They're going to be made for the Kickstarter, and then pretty much that's it.
Okay.
And in that, busts that are only about this big, which conveniently enough
Roughly
is going to be about 7 centimeters, so 70 millimeters.
So a little bit taller.
Same size.
Mm-hmm.
I regularly see go for $40, $50, $60.
Really?
Because they're designed with higher contrast in the skin. They're designed so that you can get that really fine paint job of that particular model.
So the question really becomes, what quality resin are we getting on the model?
Yeah. From what I've seen, like the close-ups of the finished, the resin, he put up one picture of the resin product that he said was not retouched, was not photoshopped, right off the camera. And you could see that level of detail in the skin.
So you think it's that level of product?
I think that if you are the type of person who is going to spend 2 to 3 months painting a very unique, very specific piece to put up in the Crystal Brush or any of a number of similar painting competitions, this is a model that will do well, and this is a model that can compete on that level. Thus, its price might be a little bit low. So if you're looking at this just to get a goofy Chocobo Rider model, this ain't your model.
Right.
If you're looking at this to go, I've never seen somebody in the mounted category put in a goblin riding a plucked ostrich.
Right. Okay.
I might win with this.
Because it's unique enough.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So, depending on who you are.
It comes down to what your hobby is, really.
I mean, it's for me, who's not into that level of painting, probably more than... It's a unique enough model. So for me, so there's a couple things that you mentioned that do intrigue me because I like limited edition things.
Yeah.
So, I will tell you right now, for $40, I have $200 I have to spend on an army. Right. So I'm not spending $40 on that.
Because I can tell you, I've gotten some of the Infamy models because I supported the first Kickstarter, and they're models designed for gameplay.
Right.
Had that level of detail.
But they're pretty good.
So I'm assuming that they're not going to go less for one that's specifically designed for that environment.
Right. So if you're looking for high quality model, something that you're going to paint up as a showpiece, then
if you're just looking for one for Wargaming, go grab the Goblin Rider from Atlantis Miniatures instead.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get 3 of them for the same price.
Yep.
And you're going to be really happy because that's a really, really good model.
Yep.
If you're looking for something that is designed for the painter, if you're looking for something to, try to push your airbrush chops a little bit with, this is, as I said, this is not a base coat and dip kind of model. This is one designed for the artisan collector, not the wargaming collector.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so our next Kickstarter.
Okay.
The Wargaming, I already messed it up.
Yeah.
Miniature Wargaming texture pads. And the reason I said it like that is because when we were typing this up, we typed in temperature by accident, and ever since then I kept saying Wargaming miniature temperature pads.
Temperature pads. So
Anyway.
you know what temperature your bases are.
Yes, exactly. These are basing stamps, is what they are. And we bring it up because this is something you've actually invested in, something else this person had done before.
Yes.
And we thought that they were a decent quality. They're a rubber urethane stamp. Their other product held up really well, and you still get used to it. Right.
Yep.
So the product itself will hold up. A couple of things that we didn't really think, or a couple of things that we think you need to consider when you're making a basing stamp to get into this market. There are 2 other companies that do basing stamps that we back.
And they're doing it good.
And they're doing it good. One of which is literally just ran a Kickstarter to do polyurethane stamps themselves in Happy Seppuku.
Yes.
Seppuku. I never say it right. Seppuku. And
you never did it right either. That's why you got all those holes going.
Okay. Say it again for me.
Seppuku.
Thank you. Happy Seppuku does it for literally a third of the cost.
About half. Definitely
half the cost.
But that also includes shipping.
And that also includes shipping, and is a larger pad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these are bad things. I'm not saying this is a bad quality. I'm just saying, if you're going to try to get into a market where there's 2 companies doing it well,
yes,
you've
got to do it as well and cheaper,
or you need to do something they're not.
Right.
And this unfortunately doesn't qualify for either.
Right.
And it's one of those things where we were actually discussing whether we bring this up or not. And we feel like it's part of our job is to bring up when we think something's not working as well as when it is.
Right.
I'm not trying to trash somebody's idea of what they want to do.
And I supported her with her first couple of Kickstarters because I could see she had an idea that she wanted to bring to market, and that she needed a little bit more development to get her skills there.
Right.
I feel her skills are there now.
Right.
Okay. However, I don't feel that she's offering a comparable product.
Right. That's really
to what I can get already on the market for cheaper.
Yeah.
Now, I really like the stamps that she came up with for this one. I think the new graveyard stamp she did a really nice job with. However,
it was an interesting idea, and I liked it.
However, I can get 2 other stamps and still have money left over.
Yeah.
I believe in giving money to Kickstarter to help companies develop. I believe in giving money to Kickstarters to help companies get there. In my opinion, that's what her first 4 Kickstarters should have been, and they were.
Right.
And at this point, she kind of needs to be comparable to her competition.
Right.
And I don't think it's there yet, as far as the pricing goes. Now, I will admit that part of that is because she's looking at a much smaller run.
Right.
There's certain costs involved.
Yes.
But
I mean, and her Kickstarter goal isn't huge.
Right.
I think it was only $800,
something
if
like
that.
that. Yeah.
So it wasn't like she was trying to get much to do it. It's just, if she really wants to be part of the market, she's doing herself a disservice if this is the best she can do.
Right.
She's never, in my opinion, she's never going to be able to succeed at that.
At that price, they need to be twice the size.
Or twice the quality.
Or, yeah, they need to be twice the size or something really dynamic that nobody else is doing. And that's going to be tricky to come up with at this point.
Yeah.
Because, as we said, you've got 2 companies that are doing it. Happy Seppuku is doing really good workman bases.
Yep.
Simple, easy to use, quick to learn, solid, done. They're not fancy, but they're cheap, they're effective, and they're quick.
Yep.
All right? Or
Bases, on the other hand.
Or you go Wargames Bakery and get the Basiest bases, where they're ridiculously artistic, fine-tuned, more expensive, but a material,
larger area,
a material that's never going to die, and 3 times the area of the Happy Seppuku ones, which are already twice the area of these.
Right. And the other thing the Basiest ones have is like twice the detail.
Yeah.
They're ridiculously detailed.
Because they're thick.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, I commend her for trying to get into the market to do something that she loves doing, because you wouldn't be 5 Kickstarters in if you didn't enjoy this.
Right.
I just think she needs to reevaluate.
And you wouldn't be 5 Kickstarters in if you weren't good at it.
Right.
I mean, let's be fair.
Right. So we like what she's done. And in fact, you even said you were disappointed you missed one of her Kickstarters that went out. You were like, I'd have bought that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and when we're done, I'm going to go check out her website and see if she has those up yet. If she does, I'm going to pick up 1 or 2 of that one.
Right.
Because I felt the quality was there and the price point was there.
Right. So if you're interested in basing pads and you stumble across this, keep these points in mind. If you think we're off base, please tell us if you think we're off base.
Yeah. Comment below, please.
Absolutely. But we mentioned her. We thought that it's worth it as mentioning her, and we gave you what we think is our opinion on that particular product.
Yes.
Not trying to say that she's bad, because we don't think she is. Just this particular product, we're not so happy.
And I'll give you the argument, because thinking back, I don't remember if she's out of the U.S. or not.
She's out of the UK.
Okay.
I know that for sure.
To our UK backers, she might be a comparable price
because
to
you don't have to pay
Happy
the shipping.
Seppuku, because the shipping included is only for U.S. So for us, it's $12. For anybody going
might not be. Okay.
overseas,
that's a good point.
It's like 17 or 18 effectively.
So maybe then it is more comparable for you guys. Maybe it's worth getting into.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Wargames Bakery is in the UK, but again, theirs is still more expensive.
It's a different
than this.
product, yeah, and it's more expensive than this. But they're in the market. I mean, these are your two ends of the market, in our opinion. Happy Seppuku? Seppuku, and the basiest products. We think those are the two ends of your market, your high end and your workman's end. So.
Yeah.
All right. Our last Kickstarter that we're going to talk about is not actually active yet.
Yep.
But it's from a company.
I'm so excited.
We actually are all very, very excited. We're so excited, in fact, we're going to run a campaign for their game next. World's End Publishing is going to run a Kickstarter. They're going to do a Kickstarter to do a published, printed book and some models.
Yep.
To go along with their line. As of right now, I don't know if you're into
Can you grab me the... it should be on the higher of the 2 bookshelves. Pretty much dead center should be This Is Not a Test PDF book.
That is it.
Da-da-da.
Okay. So, this is our self-printed PDF book of the This Is Not a Test rules.
Yep.
If you are into This Is Not a Test, you already know that this sucker costs you $25.
Yep. $25 PDF.
$25 PDF. And guess what? We bought one. The reason we bought it is because we believe in why he was doing it, which was to use that money to turn around and put it into product. He didn't use Kickstarter to create his game.
Right.
So this is how he was funding himself. So we said, we like the game, we're going to support it.
And,
it's
high quality pages.
It's high quality pages. This is the
printed.
book. Yes. This is the book you're going to get in a printed, bound version.
Yes.
In the
I'm not even aiming for pages because I know I don't have to.
Right. There's not a bad page.
Really good.
It's a really good, really high quality
nice
stuff. Yeah.
So.
Quality comparable to any other game out there.
Yeah.
Bar easily. So he's going to make a printed copies, and the Kickstarter's coming this month.
Yes.
Do we have an exact date yet or no?
I do not. I'm going to say January 15-esque.
So mid-month-ish.
Airing on the side of closer rather than later, I think.
All right, and as soon as we have a date, you'll have a date.
Ooh, teacher.
Yes.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
If you went through all the trouble of bringing up the fact that he launched the game without a Kickstarter, why is he going to a Kickstarter to pay for the rulebook that already came out for the game that he launched without a Kickstarter?
Well, I'm glad you asked that.
Okay.
All right. Because
I'm glad you have an answer eventually.
I do actually have an answer. It might take me a while to get there.
All right.
Couple things. First off, he's doing a Kickstarter because you have to use when you do printing books. So a little bit of lesson here on how books get printed. When you print a book, you buy allotments of how many you're going to get published. So, for example, if you want to buy X amount of dollars for 100. The cost goes down the more you print, to the point where you could literally go to 500 and it's going to cost you almost the same amount of money as it costs you to get 100.
Right.
So
it's going to be like 20% more to print 500 over 100.
So he's basically going to use Kickstarter as a way to pre-order for the people who want to buy a book now, so that he can get enough funds to buy a larger slot to be able to get all of his books, including the ones he's going to sell after Kickstarter, ready and published. So it's probably going to cost us about the same amount as if he were to do it out of pocket right now.
So what you're saying is that even though this is an established game, and to be fair, that's erring on the side of being gracious, saying that this game is established at this point.
Okay.
If we're saying that this is an already established game with an already established product line, this is still in the vein of what Kickstarter was created for.
Absolutely.
Because it's a product that he would not be able to produce
without
that game
Kickstarter.
without it.
Correct.
Okay.
Also, in conjunction with that, being able to do something like this allows him to have everything he needs ready so that the next book he sells after Kickstarter, that money can immediately go to the next part of this project.
Right.
So this is what Kickstarter is about. It's about helping companies get themselves started and get themselves a product to market that they can then use to make money and continue their business. So yeah, this is exactly what Kickstarter is designed for.
Okay.
And it is interesting that, yes, like you said, this is a guy who decided not to use Kickstarter to launch his game, but is now going to use Kickstarter to launch a product that he just can't feasibly do himself.
Right.
Which, awesome. It is, in my opinion, if you already own the PDF, I would still go and support the Kickstarter because 2 reasons. 1, printed books are awesome. I might be biased on that because I like printed books. 2, if you support the Kickstarter, you're more likely to get more things that you're going to like for the game that you already bought the PDF for.
Fair enough.
So, yes, it's $25 to get a printed book that you don't really need because maybe you've done what we've done and printed yourself one. So go put it on the shelf, make it nice and pretty, keep playing out of the PDF that you already printed up and use, and give the guy money that helps him
bring
more
your
stuff.
hardbound copy to Nova so that next year when he's there, he can sign it for you. Yeah?
I'm doing that.
Because I know you love signed books.
Oh, I'm doing that. I'm just going to say he should do signed books as one of the Kickstarter pledges.
Not a bad idea.
Just saying. I'd pay extra to get it delivered to me signed.
Would you now?
Yes, I would.
Well,
Just saying.
I don't know. I'm just saying Mr. McGuire watches our show, so there's a possibility he might have just heard that.
And here's the thing, Mr. McGuire, I'm not the only one like this. There are people who are collectors at heart in addition to all of this, and who will buy things just because it's a limited edition thing that they can't get elsewhere, and it's a collector's piece. I have a collector's piece that I think only 2 other people in the world have right now.
Which one's that?
I have a book with your signature in it from your first published
Hey, that's
book.
right. That's
And
right.
that's because I believe in having things as a collector's item.
During the Kickstarter for Spine Spur, we got the hardback book
Why? Because
of a game that we already had.
Right.
Why? Because it was a limited edition and it had 2 pieces of fluff, each one 2 pages long, that weren't reproduced anywhere else. Right. It was a Kickstarter-only edition of the book, and this boy went and bought one, and I bought one, and a bunch, and
we all bought
like 65 other people bought one.
Because there are, I'm not saying you're going to make. That's not the market that you're trying to get for everything.
Right.
But there's a market for it.
Yeah.
And we'd all pay a little bit extra for it. We do. So keep an eye out. If this is not a test, if you're into that game, and if you're not into that game, you should give it a look because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you have a game
if you're not familiar with the game that we're talking about, and for some reason haven't heard us talking about it before, go to worldsendpublishing.com. You can look at the game. You can look at some of the backstory, some of the models. The PDF is available still for $25.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Will there be a link anywhere that I can click on to get that?
It should be right down there.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that is our Kickstarter news.
Yay!
Yay, Kickstarter news. So now on to the alluded to company.
Which is kind of, sort of, almost still Kickstarter news-ish. Kind of.
Actually, it is kind of Kickstarter news-ish.
Unfortunately.
All right, so 2 weeks ago was it when we talked about this story?
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
Had to be.
Yeah, because it was right before. No, was it in the Christmas special, or was it the week before the Christmas special?
It was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago, we mentioned that Alien Dungeon had disappeared from the face of the earth, as far as we could tell. Literally, the day before we did a recording, their webpage went down, their Facebook page went down, their phone stopped answering. Yeah, pretty much gone. Mm-hmm. And
Martians got them.
Martians got them. That's really it. I think all right, so a couple
Either
things.
that or those one-eyed things.
Those one-eyed things were creepy.
You know what? I'm willing to see Alien Dungeon go away if those one-eyed things never exist again.
Because they were creepy.
Yeah, the creeps were actually pretty bad.
All right, so In case you're not familiar with what we're talking about, they had 2 games that were really their primary games. Fantaside, which is where the One-Eyed Creeps came from, which was actually a model non-specific game. You could use any models you wanted. They did have model lines for it. And then there was, This Is Not a Test. I apologize.
All
Quiet on the Martian Front. All Quiet on the Martian Front was a Kickstarter, which is why this is somewhat quasi-Kickstarter news, for a game that literally was what happens if Mars doesn't die because of whatever.
Right.
You know, what if they continue
Basically,
fighting?
it was War of the Worlds. 50 years later, or 30 years later, rather, the Martians came back for another round right around the time of the Great War.
Right. So it's Great War era Earth technology against Martian technology. That was basically the premise. And it did really well.
Yeah.
It did
Kickstarter
phenomenally
was
well.
really solid.
And then it just hit delay after delay after delay to the point where we are 3 years past Kickstarter now.
Yes.
And stuff still hasn't delivered. And now the company's gone.
Not all of it. Wave 1 and 2 completely went out. There's a Wave 3.
There was a Wave 3 that...
in media.
Yeah. Did some people actually get any Wave 3 or no?
Some people got Wave 3. There are a couple models in Wave 3 that no one has confirmed receiving at all.
Okay.
But if you weren't getting those specific models, you got Wave 3 stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So some of Wave 3 made it out to market.
Yes.
6 months ago, we had a news piece on Alien Dungeon talking about how they were going to move.
Yeah. How they had a new production facility. They were moving to literally 2 blocks away from it in Pennsylvania, and they were selling it down a lot of stuff and letting people go so that they could prep for the move.
Yep. So I mentioned both of those pieces of information to talk about the next thing.
This is not my happy face, boys and girls.
No. All right, so we have gotten some confirmation from people who should know that the materials are available or trying to be purchased by third parties.
Yes.
Which would lead us to believe that Alien Dungeon has folded.
Yes.
And given that it's been at least 2 to 3 weeks since anyone has heard peep from these people, that's a fair assessment.
The information I've received seems fairly believable that Alien Dungeon as a company is insolvent and they are looking for people to purchase their existing lines.
Yes.
And that they're basically done.
And so, in conjunction with that news and the fact that 6 months ago they made a decision that was going to force them to get rid of all of their staff and move, and then conveniently right about the time that that's supposed to happen, they close, there's supposition, and it is completely supposition on everybody's part,
Yep.
that 6 months ago they knew this was coming and they lied to all of us.
And I've actually come up with a...
Okay.
Where that is still the most likely scenario.
By the way, neither one of us are happy.
Neither one of us want to believe that's the scenario, by the way. I have come up with a theory that could be that wasn't what happened.
Okay. I'd love to hear it.
Okay. So 6 months ago, they announced the move.
Yep.
They announced that they were going to be shutting down their Indiana or wherever, or Ohio or wherever it is offices.
I think it was Ohio.
And that they're going to be moving to Pennsylvania.
Yep.
There's a lot of expense involved in that.
Yep.
And so they start trying to tailor their business towards downsizing and reduction.
Right.
So that they, A, have funds available to move, and B, don't have to use as many funds to move because they don't have to haul as much stuff.
Right.
My belief is that because this is a massive, massive undertaking, it probably required some third-party assets.
Maybe that fell through.
And let's say for a minute, you're, Uncle Ernie. Okay? All right. So you're getting ready to move. You've released your lease on your current property. You've gotten rid of most of your staff. You've bought a house in another state. You've put the money down to secure the new facility. And you've sold through most of your existing stock.
Sure.
It's mid-January, and now your funding source reneges.
Okay.
What do you do?
I tell people, and that's where that theory falls apart.
Yeah.
Because all of that works.
If that happens, you're boned.
You are boned.
You got nowhere to go.
You got nowhere to go.
But you can't even stay there.
Right, and I get that. And you're still insolvent and the company still folds. Fine. Right. But there's no reason for the complete lack of... literally, as far as we know, these people have disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
No one has heard peep from them. Even people who know them privately haven't heard from them. Like, literally, the joke of the Martians took them would make sense because they're gone. And that's where every theory that you can come up with that doesn't paint them in a horrible light falls apart when they stop talking.
Yep. It literally falls apart when it gets to the communication breakdown.
Right. Like, it's not even... Because even then, my website doesn't go down just because I don't... Like the website disappears. The phones get turned off the same day. I mean, the only way all that happens is if, you're doing your own... But even then, Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook goes
Facebook
away.
Page goes.
That's the killer. Facebook page goes away. There's only there's only two ways that happens. One, Facebook takes it down. Two, you take it down.
Yeah. And Facebook doesn't take down company pages.
No.
It just doesn't happen.
And there has been a plea from the community for some communication for almost half a month.
Yeah.
And met with silence.
Yeah.
As much as the man I knew, I have to at some point believe he knew it, whether it was 6 months ago or 2 weeks ago or whenever, he knew this was coming and he chose to abandon his community rather than face the music.
Arguably, it is impossible to defend the fact that he abandoned the community. Yes. Right. Because no matter what happens, even if it was just, hi everybody, just letting you know I took all your money and I'm moving to Colombia, like, even that conversation didn't happen.
Right.
So...
And the problem is, that's the conversation that everyone assumes is the truth, because
you don't have anything to the contrary.
Right, and the person who runs away with your money is the person who does it by disappearing.
Right.
And I'm not even saying there was any money left to be had. I mean, there have been rumors of Alien Dungeon having money problems for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. I honestly think, here's my fear, is that rather than face the music and say, look guys, we're not solving it anymore, we can't do it anymore, they went and hid. And I'm not saying it's a great place to be, to have to go to your community and tell people, by the way, I'm not going to be able to give you what you paid me for because I ain't got it and I ain't got the money to get it. It's a horrible place to be. But disappearing means that if you ever show up again,
yep.
I mean, you're
now Defiance Games.
Right, you've walked away from the industry at this point because you can't come back.
Right.
Because you come back, and I'll tell you right now, I'm going to lead the charge that no one should ever buy your product.
Yep.
Because you are Defiance Games.
And there were some really talented people at that company that had some really good vision, and had been in the industry for decades.
And here's the other bad thing. We know they laid off an entire staff.
Yeah.
Every member of that staff now is going to be looked at suspect. Did they know? Did they not know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's just a bad place to be. And we're not happy about it. Here's the kicker. This was always a game I wanted to play if we ever thought there was going to be enough of us to want to play it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like I was interested in this.
Right, and honestly...
We were going to get in on their last Kickstarter, the Crush of Iron. Yeah. We were in.
Honestly, Alien Dungeon has, a decent following in the area. I know people that play it, and...
Not anymore.
Yeah.
And I can't say I blame them. There's just no... At this point, we can't come up with any reasonable reason for this to have happened, and we just want to kind of share our thoughts on it, and I guess kind of close the book on it a bit until there's any new news. But
because that's pretty much it.
And for those of you who are out there who didn't get your third wave stuff, I feel for you. I mean, unfortunately, it is one of the negatives to Kickstarter, is that sometimes you will pay money for stuff you never actually get. Doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough that you need to be aware of it. But the other part of that is we do know there are parties out there trying to purchase whatever might be left of Alien Dungeons.
And there's
materials.
a couple interesting theories on that.
Yes.
I think Battlefront is a decent idea.
Absolutely.
Number one, because we know that for the last 3 years they've been looking to get a property other than Flames of War moving.
Yep.
And we know that because they had purchased one that they are no longer actually distributing.
Is Flames of War and All Quiet the same scale?
I don't believe so.
I don't remember. I can't remember what All Quiet is.
Believe All Quiet is 10mm, not 15.
Okay. So it's
I'm
a little
not
bit smaller.
certain.
Okay.
I'd have to go check, but I thought it was 10mm.
I just wonder, because that would be very interesting, because you could literally use a lot of your existing models in that line.
Right. Especially if they just knocked put out a source book slightly further ahead in the war by like a decade or two.
Right.
And you could arguably use your World War II stuff.
Yeah.
World War
just a thought,
content.
So just a thought.
Yeah, so I think Battlefront is a decent opportunity there. I think Warlord Games is an interesting opportunity. They like unique properties. They have nothing in that scale.
Nope.
It would align well with Bolt Action while not challenging it because it's a different scale.
And different type of combat, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And, speaking of Warlord Games, I'm going to get giddy, guys, just so you know.
Yep.
All right, so Warlord Games did a promotion called the 12 Days of Christmas. I recommend everyone go look at it because it was all preview stuff and stuff that was going on in their campaign. And
love some of the Concord stuff coming
yes,
out.
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, a lot of actually Beyond the Gates of Antares stuff. And we told them we played a game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys know we played a game, and there's a game there, guys.
Yeah.
There's a game there. That's going to be a very solid game. They have pre-orders for almost all of their starter armies out, so go take a look at that. But that's not really what got me excited. Even though that was all cool, that's not what got me excited. All right, so you may remember I squeed 5 months ago?
About that.
5 months ago, I squeed because Warlord Games announced that they were going to do a Doctor Who miniatures game. And one of the 12 Days of Christmas previews was the first model render for that game. It was a Zygon. Zygons! Which actually prompted you and I to have a 20-minute conversation about what does that actually mean.
All right. So, now, most people do this with movies. We do this with games.
Yes.
You see a trailer come out, you get 30 seconds worth of information, and you're an expert about it.
You know the entire plot. Absolutely. Everything that's going to happen in the movie.
We've certainly never done it.
No. Half hour of Star Wars conversation.
Yeah.
So
anyway, one Zygon model comes out.
Yes.
Not even a model, just a render.
Just a render, not even a model. Yeah, for a Zygon model.
And we're like, okay, well now we know everything that's going to happen with this game.
Yes.
Number one, here's my points, and he's probably going to counterpoint every one of them with logic because he's a jerk.
I'm just going to point out, the guy who's excited about this game is going to counterpoint with logic.
Yeah. We know that they're looking to be fairly expansive off the bat because if you're starting off with the Doctor Who board game, because remember anything that has less than 3 factions is a board game.
Yes.
So if you only have 2 factions, there would be the Doctor and the Daleks, Doctor and Friends and Daleks, and there would be your 2 factions.
Yep.
If you're going to do a board game with options, which would be 3 factions, you would do the Doctor and Friends, Daleks, and Cybermen.
Sure.
If you're doing a actual tabletop board game, which means you need to launch with 4 factions, you now have proof that they're going at least that far into the well, because a Zygon is neither an ally of the Doctor or the Daleks or the Cybermen. So I have a reasonable suspicion now that they're going at least 4 deep, and personally, if I'm only going 4 deep, I'm still not hitting the Zygons because I'm looking at the Martians at that point. I'm looking at the Plastic Men at that point. I think there's a lot of good options for
Ice
a force.
Warriors, by the way. The Martians are called Ice Warriors.
The Ice Warriors, yes, thank you. There's a dozen forces I would go to before I make a Zygon army.
And all of that is absolutely true.
Yes.
Here's my counterparts.
Okay.
Okay? First, we know that they have everything in the Doctor Who universe. And as I pointed out to you in that conversation, and you were unaware, technically, Cybermen and Daleks are not Doctor Who universe.
As an asterisk, I was aware of the Daleks.
Yes. The Daleks are owned by another property, as are the Cybermen. And case in point, that is why the Cybermen did not appear in the first series of the new launch of Doctor Who, because they didn't have the rights to them yet. They didn't give the rights to them until Series 2. They got the Daleks right off the bat, because that was part of their plan for the relaunch.
Well, I mean, coming back from the Time War, I think you kind
of had to. Well, because the problem is the Time War wasn't really official yet.
Right.
So anyway, so we know they have everything in the Doctor Who universe. You could make the argument that they never specifically mentioned Daleks, never specifically mentioned Cybermen, and maybe they don't because they don't actually have the license to those. They have the Doctor Who universe.
Don't have them yet.
Or don't have them yet. I'm sure they want to get them. I would find it, personally, I agree with you that I find it hard-pressed to do a game with the Doctor and not have the Daleks as one of his possible enemy.
Right.
Like even if it's not your only one. But that aside, they've not said they specifically have them. Okay. So that's my first counterpoint.
Okay.
My second counterpoint is Zygons, yes, you would think very obscure. However, they have appeared in 2 major plot lines in the last 2 years. They have become the de facto because here's the thing. If you follow the story at all, and I'm going to make a little bit of a leap, but if you follow the Doctor Who story at all, and there's a little bit of spoilers here if you ever want to watch this.
Mm-hmm. Well, by the way, we can go from the assumption that we absolutely know for a fact that Rick Priestley is a Whovian.
Yes.
So
we know he's aware.
So we know the guy in charge of this project is going to be aware of all everything he's about to say.
Okay. The Zygons currently are on Earth in the storylines.
Okay.
So it makes sense for them to, if you want to do an Earth-based board game, I'm going to go back to if you want to do a board game.
Okay.
Zygons would be the logical choice to use as your bad guy force for a board game.
Or even if you're doing a Earth versus something else, they could potentially be an elite unit within your human army.
Could even
because
be.
they look like humans, but they're not.
Right. So
they could be your perfect infiltrating unit.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of uses where you could use Zygons and still only have 2 factions. Well, you could even do humans versus Daleks and have Zygons because they're on Earth.
Right.
Because it's just Earth versus Daleks.
Because now they need to join in because they can't go off planet.
Again, I'm not saying I necessarily think that's where it's going, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going wargame.
Right.
Now again, I don't know that Rick Priestley doesn't want to do wargame.
Right.
But let's just to keep that in mind. The second is, we're all getting excited about one sinking render.
Oh, come on. But it's a static pose of sucker face. How can you not get excited?
I am excited for static pose.
Wait, that's exactly how you can not get excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a doctor, it's not a companion, it's not anything.
It's not a licensed.
It's
a
not
licensed image of the BBC, but not of
anything that. And I'm going to say this, and I don't mean it the way it's going to come out of my mouth, but it's not anything that matters.
Yeah.
A Zygon, that render could suck, and I'm not going to care. And yes, there was a pun there.
You know, it actually would have been a lot more telling if they had shown any TARDIS.
Yeah.
And I say any because you've got 7 options to choose from. And that would have been more telling about what you're doing with your game.
Right. I mean, it was a completely safe thing to put out there without having to tell anybody about what you're doing.
Right.
Because here's the thing. What was my first question when I saw the render? Have we heard anything about rules yet?
Yeah. What else we got?
What else we got? And I'm excited for this game. And yes, it was a great render, and I'm excited because if the model looks as good as the render, I would be happy to have that model. However, it's inconsequential.
Yeah.
So, if you're into Doctor Who, be excited. Because it is proof, at least, that they still have the license, if nothing else.
At the risk of being a downer, there was actually something I was desperately waiting for in the 12 days of Christmas.
That didn't happen?
That did not happen.
What's that?
Any mention of Wargames Factory.
That's right!
Yep. The company that they bought that was supposed to be being transferred to their web store by October.
Still no mention of it.
Still nothing.
I mean, you're right. I mean, while there are things they're doing that we like, there's definitely things Warlord games are doing that we're not.
I have a feeling that Wargames, I think as far as the Wargames Factory goes, they were a weird company. They were set up in a very unusual way. And
maybe it was harder to absorb than they thought.
Warlord made a slight tactical error in assuming that when they bought Wargames Factory Europe, they were actually buying things. Because the company was two different entities that functioned in a partnership. It was Wargames Factory Europe and Wargames Factory China. And Wargames Factory China was the production facility that owned the rights to all the molds.
So what did they buy then?
Technically, the European distributorship. So,
but all right. So even if that, let's say that's true, okay. And
you would think they would want to be distributing these things.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, you paid money for something.
Yep.
Like, and you're not making anything back on it yet. And yet again, another company that, and this is starting to become too big of a trend. Where's the communication, people?
Yep.
You're.
Now I understand there are certain things in business that you can't discuss yet.
But you can give us some. You're literally 3 months behind, and you haven't told us any idea of when to expect it.
Right.
You can't tell me. You can't tell me that.
You can at least say, "Hey, we know that this is behind track. We're
working on it.
We're working on technicalities that we can't discuss due to contractual obligations."
Fine.
Give me that.
Sucks, but I get it. I mean, I'm gonna rant here for a bit. Give me a second, okay?
Go for it.
You're not big enough to be other wargaming companies and not talk to your community.
Yep.
None of the people we talk about are big enough to not talk to their community. And yes, Rick Priestley, I think you're. I don't want to say God, but you're a big figure in wargaming.
One of the giants of the industry.
You're one of the giants of the industry, but your company is not. And I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but you've got to give your community something, because literally, you've got people who want to buy your the product and can't. They can't even buy it from Wargames Factory
because they don't exist.
So either you have it and it's coming and you need to tell us, yes, we know we're behind and it's coming, or you don't have it anymore and you need to tell us so that we can stop badgering you about it. Because here's the thing, every time I go to a forum and they're yelling and people are in that forum yelling about you not fulfilling some obligation they think you might have, this is one of those cases where negative publicity is not, where publicity is good regardless of whether it's bad or good.
Right.
If people are talking bad about your company when you're not a big guy who can absorb damage to your reputation, you need to be on board. I mean...
Now, I am going to counter that argument.
Okay.
Particularly with the issue of dealing with overseas production and dealing with third-party contractual issues.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm going to counter this. It's going to make me sound like a fanboy, even though everyone in our club knows that I'm not. Even though I still appreciate the company.
Mm-hmm.
Protoss was attempted to be very upfront with people and give information whenever possible, and literally got into the problem where, as soon as they gave information publicly, they were notified the information was just changed. So now they have the problem that they're telling people things of when they can expect something, and as soon as they give out that information, now they have to say, well, no, we can't do it then, and we can't tell you whose fault it is, but we're pretty sure it's not ours. And it'll be ready at Y date instead, and now Y date gets pushed back due to a different issue.
Yes. And that's well documented. We kind of know what we're talking about with that. But I will counter that this is slightly different. Okay? Yes. I don't expect, unless Warlord Games knows definitively it's going to happen on this date without any barring, I don't want them to give me a date. Because I don't want them to miss another date.
Right.
Okay? One time you can get away with missing a date. The next time you can... But one time. The next time the date better be hit, or you're worse off than if you'd never said anything at all.
Right.
Fair. But that's to say, Protoss couldn't have gone, yes, we know we're delayed. We're working on it. It will be out as soon as we... Like, there's a difference. At least Protoss was trying to communicate. Maybe they gave the information too specifically than they should have.
Right.
But here you've got... All we know is what Warlord Games said on their website when they stopped selling stuff, which was, oh, by the way, not Warlord Games, excuse me. When Wargames Factory put on their website, we're not selling our stuff anymore, you got to go to Warlord Games.
Right.
That's all the information we have.
And again, this is something that companies are still trying to figure out because it's the 21st century and all the rules have changed. Mm-hmm. But there's this Venn diagram of this amount of lack of communication sucks. This amount of over-communication sucks. And they overlap right here, and this is the right amount of communication.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it's not tricky, and I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just saying that I've yet to see somebody come up with the answer.
Okay. But, all right, let me ask you a question. Which do you think is worse?
Have you checked out the AVP forums?
No, because that's that's a hive of scum and villainy.
I think you might have just answered your own question.
Yeah, but have you looked at the Warlord Games forums lately? Because I have.
Yeah, and they're
not much better.
Not much better is still some better. I'll grant you it hasn't been as long, but not much better is still some better.
I guess a part of me will, while I understand what you're saying with the protest, and I'm not discounting what you're saying, a part of me always gets more suspect of a company that doesn't tell me anything than I do of a company that tells me something and it gets changed.
See, I'm the exact opposite. Okay. I get more suspect of how much can I trust the next thing you tell me when the last 3 things you told me didn't work the way you told me they would. Because there comes a point where no news is better than false news.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And again, this is why I'm saying I don't have an answer for how this works. If I had an answer for how this works, I would be somebody's SEO chair somewhere right. And be making $1 million because I would have solved this problem for the industry.
Yeah, right, because they all have this problem.
Honestly, it's bad all the way around. Companies don't know what to do. Gamers don't know how to react because we're jerks.
Yes.
I want my toys. I want them now. If I can't have them now, that's okay, but I want your blood.
Yes. That's the only thing acceptable to me as to why I don't have my toys. And we've done numerous talks about how the industry, that we're partly to blame for these problems in the industry. Right. Because our reactions are poor.
And case in point, I just had a misship from Weird.
Okay.
You want to talk about a company that is doing it as close to right as anybody is?
Sure.
And is still running into trouble? It's Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Had a misship from Weird. Basically, they had a problem with Black Friday. The wrong sprues went out for something.
Yes.
I got my replacement piece, which was also the wrong sprue.
Mm-hmm.
I asked a question on a forum that I'm on that's a bit of an insidery page. Mm-hmm. And brought, hey, this was the one original. This was... Am I wrong of what my model is supposed to be? Because I didn't think this was it, and I'm confused. And I got a private message back from somebody in the company who was like, I'm so sorry, it must have been mispackaged. As soon as we're back in the office, give me an email, send it out right away, I'll have it overnighted to you, everything's going to be fine, don't stop playing the game. Like
his reaction let you know that there's...
Right. And literally my response to him was, it's okay, we're all professionals here.
Right.
And I've got enough other stuff to paint that this isn't on my board yet.
Yeah.
But I recognize that I'm unusual in that regard.
Yeah.
And that most gamers would have been, my tournament season's ruined!
Well, there's that.
Because as a collective, we're jerks.
We are. Yeah. I don't know that there's a right answer or a wrong answer. I mean, I guess I get frustrated. Because here's the thing, I never got mad at ProDOS for the AVP stuff. It never bothered me because I kind of understood that it wasn't just them.
Right.
That they were beholden to some other third party that could influence every decision they made. And I watched that Facebook video that Yarrick put up when he flipped his stuff about not having models.
Yeah.
And I went, that man's about ready to lose his stuff.
About the 1,100 pounds of resin
that is sitting in his warehouse that he couldn't move.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched that video. So I guess part of me kind of accepted.
By the way, he was technically in
violation. Yes, because he showed stuff.
Yeah, this was a serious NDA, people.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, Fox does not joke around with their NDAs.
So I guess part of me always kind of accepted that I never believed that Yarrick was trying to rip us off.
Right.
And ProDOS. And Yarrick is the CEO, so it's him. I never believed he was trying to rip me off. And maybe I'm naive. I don't know. But because he was trying. Like, I felt like every time he gave me information, he was trying.
Right.
And he never presented it in a way of like, well, this is the way it is and you guys got to deal with it. It was always like, look, I'm sorry.
Right.
Look, I'm sorry. I understand that you're frustrated. I understand. Look, I'm frustrated too. Like, I always got that sense from him on that.
You definitely got from him the sense that he was
frustrated as well. So here's a man who's trying to do right by the community, keeps putting dates out there, and is getting abused left and right. I completely understand. So I sympathize with him in that one. I look at Warlord Games and I go, guys, give me something to make me think that there's actually something coming. Even give me, it's not coming. I want something to say that, you know what it ultimately comes down to?
What's that?
I want to defend the companies I buy from.
Okay.
And I can't defend you if you don't give me anything to defend.
Fair enough.
And that's, I think, ultimately, maybe that's me, not everyone in the community.
I think that most of the community goes the other way and goes, they don't want... Because they have dealt with this from other wargaming companies for so long, they're of the mindset that they don't want to have to defend the company that they're buying from. Because if they wanted to have to defend the company they're buying from, they would still be buying from the biggest elephant in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Because, the violations from the biggest elephant in the room are things I can't defend anyway.
Right.
So I'll defend other things because I believe in them.
Right.
Just what they did that pissed me off, I can't
It just
defend.
comes to, who you feel like believing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
I mean,
anyway, yes. So
it's rough. It's a
rough.
new millennium. Technology has made us all incredibly close and incredibly distant, all at the same time.
Well,
and nobody knows how to handle this yet.
Well, and because unfortunately the internet has let us all be anonymous a-holes.
It's not even that. It's all right. Go back 20 years ago, and let's say that I'll use Iron Games.
Okay.
Which sold mostly via catalog.
Sure.
They had a splash page in the back of every wargaming
publication.
Every wargaming publication, even like little tiny ones like the Maryland Wargaming Association, I think, or something like that.
Something.
It sold like 40 copies.
But they were there. Gotcha.
They were there.
Yeah. Okay.
And they sold via catalog.
Okay.
That was it all the time. And when they went belly up, we didn't know about it for months. Like, it took 6 months for anybody to figure out they stopped existing.
Gotcha.
Alien Dungeon pulls down their webpage and their Facebook page, and people are tweeting about it within 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, there is a level of connectivity, and it makes it difficult for gaming companies to respond to because, like, you have a production issue.
Mm-hmm.
Something doesn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're talking to one of the stores. Let's say you're a small company,
Sure. Okay.
and you distribute direct to wargaming stores.
Okay. I don't have a distributor between me and you.
Right.
All right. Got it.
All right. So you are the manufacturer.
Yep.
I'm your friendly local game store.
Okay.
Okay. Token Gamer Chick is my customer.
Okay.
All right. It's Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
You put out a notice every Friday from your company because you're really in touch with your community.
Yep. Okay. Got it.
I'm talking to you on Tuesday on the phone, trying to order 200 boxes of your Cosmic Troopers.
Got it.
All right. Except you broke the mold and you don't have any available and you're not sure when they're going to be available.
So, okay.
So you tell me that.
So I tell you that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I have information, insider information, which reasonably I should have from my distributor, which happens to be the manufacturer.
Okay.
Token Gamer Chick comes in my store
Gotcha.
and wants to buy 3 boxes of Cosmic Troopers for our tournament that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic Trooper Unlimited.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, a division of Zone Zone.
It was a division of Zone, yes.
So, Token Gamer Chick comes in to buy 2 boxes of Cosmic Troopers, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have any, and I don't know when I'm going to get any in.
Sure.
2 things can happen from here on my end.
Mm-hmm.
I can stop there,
or you can tell them what.
or I can say, because the mold is broken.
Okay.
Okay? Assuming that Token Gamer Chick flies off the handle and not being able to prep for her tournament,
Yes.
she goes to Facebook and posts what? Regardless of what information you've been told.
Unreliable, undependable, can't get it anywhere, table flip.
Yeah.
Right.
You have 3 days of bad press. And you've done nothing wrong.
Sure.
And neither have I. And as a customer, neither has she.
Right. Okay.
But the next guy that gets it, I'll be the next guy in line. And I hate your company, and I hate your game because I think your rules suck, and your models are pedantic, and your paint schemes blow.
Okay.
And you stink, and your mother dresses you funny. I just despise everything about your company.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I see her. I'm friends with her on Facebook.
Sure.
And I see that. And I immediately throw that on my Twitter account and my Facebook page, and I'm calling my local gaming store, and I'm talking to everybody in my club going, do you see what Belgarath Games have done? They can't support in the industry. They can't give product to their customers. Rozzy rah, table flipping, let's all grab pitchforks and torches.
Absolutely.
And that's the industry.
Yes. Here's my counter to that.
Go for it.
In 3 days, even if I waited until Friday to address it, in 3 days, I'm going to have something in my newsletter that says what's going on. I'm not going to be 3 months behind and still not have said anything.
Fair enough.
And that's where it falls down.
Okay.
To me, there's a reasonable amount of time that a company can go without saying something, and you can go, all right, they just haven't had time to address it.
Right.
To me, 3 months has crossed that threshold.
So basically, if we're going back to talking about the social contract of gaming, I want to take it a step above that and go not this side and that side of the table.
Sure,
but this side and that side of the supply line.
Sure.
As a company.
Well, honestly, this is a social contract for any company that deals with
anything in retail.
Anything in retail.
As a
company, there's a level of responsibility on my part to let my customers know what products they can buy, and if there's an issue, it is my responsibility to address that issue in as timely and legal a fashion as I can.
Yes. And the flip side of that is from the gamer aspect, which I understand is emotionally charged and is difficult. We all need to chill a little bit. And like we did with Alien Dungeon, don't assume the worst until it's confirmed. Hope that they got abducted instead.
Yes.
Give the guys the benefit of the doubt, because unless you've been in the business, I'm telling you, you don't understand the myriad of things that can go wrong. Because companies are really good historically have been really good at hiding that. Kickstarter makes it impossible to do that. And because of that, the industry is now under an entirely different microscope.
And I will say that I would think wargaming, especially the game companies, a lot of the companies that we talk about, my family has a history of small business. Yeah. These are small businesses.
You're like a third generation entrepreneur. So.
Yeah. These businesses are small businesses. I know we like to think, they make these models that you can buy anywhere in the world, so they must be big. No, they're not. And sometimes things can just get to the point where you, as a small business, you can't address everything at once.
Yeah.
And
case in point, I think there are at the moment, 5 companies in the industry, including other wargaming companies, that have more than 25 or more employees.
Right.
5 total.
5 total. So that means that most of your gaming companies that are making these models that we all love and want to play with are...
They're a mom and pop and 2 part-timers.
Right. And, we know some of these people, a couple of them personally.
Yeah.
That is what they are.
Yeah.
There's 2 people involved, and, and the guy down the street that I hire every week to come in and pack my stuff. That's what you got. And they're not always going to be... They're going to make mistakes. And sometimes the mistakes will cost them their market share completely, and they'll go away. Alien Dungeon.
Yeah.
Sometimes their mistakes are things that they can't control, and they will do their best to address them, and their community still flips out because their community is bigger than they ever expected it to be. Welcome, Protoss.
Yeah.
Then you have people companies who want to be big, who just keep annoying their own customer base because they don't talk. Hello, Warlord Games.
Right.
There's a happy medium in there somewhere, and if any of these companies ever want... And I know I feel like I'm a little preachy here, but if any of these companies will ever want to be one of those 5, maybe become the 6th, they've got to find the balance here between these problems. And again, I'm not saying I know all the answers, because literally I showed you 3 different scenarios, 3 different companies that all had different results in the end.
Right.
And they all tried different tactics, and none of them worked yet. So I think one of the things about small companies, from what I've learned in my history of small companies, and I'm going on with dissertation, but you need you know how you said there are people out there who don't want to defend companies because if they did,
Yeah.
they'd still be defending the big guy.
Right.
Part of the reason that they get fed up defending the big guy is they feel like they shouldn't have to.
Right.
Small businesses need defenders.
Fair enough.
And there are some of your customer base out there who will do it for you if you give them the ammunition to fight back.
Right.
But right now, I can fight back for Protoss.
There is no ammunition for Alien Dungeon.
But here's the thing, like ADP, all the issues I've had with ADP, I can still fight back because you know what? I can point at the big guy in the room who's the gorilla who, like, I don't know everything they did, but I can guarantee you Fox had something to do with every one of those delays.
Right.
I can defend that. Warlord Games doesn't have War Games Factory stuff out yet.
And they're the Fox.
Right, and they're the Fox. And I'm like, I can fling poo at the problem, that's about all I got.
Right.
You've given me no ammunition. So, thank you for listening to my dissertation on how I think businesses should work. It's something we talk
all
about
I got
a lot.
from that is that somehow your business proposal includes poo flinging.
Yeah, my business proposals always involve poo flinging, otherwise they're not a good business plan. Because there's always going to be some poo that's got to be flung at the wall.
Oh.
Anywho.
You're no longer my business manager. That's
What? You always throw some at the wall and see what sticks. That is part of design.
I think that's part of your health problems.
All right, that might be fair. Anyway, I guess I was making light at the end, but this is actually something that is near and dear to me, and it's something I've talked about at length to anyone who'll listen for years.
The industry is at a point where the entire industry is changing, and the companies are trying to change to fit with it. And I think I think part of it is beholden on the gamers themselves to also adapt and adjust and realize that the industry isn't what it was 10 years ago.
Yep.
It isn't what it was when any of us got into it, and the rules are different now.
Yeah, and we have to kind of start accepting that.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've dragged that one on for long enough.
Yeah, right? So much for this being a short show.
I know. Well, we
got those soapboxes out.
We did, and we went on for a while. But just to kind of recap, Warlord Games has a Doctor Who model that you might want to go look at because it was cool.
Yep.
All right.
Warlord Games, Doctor Who model. Alien
Yay.
Dungeon, stolen by aliens.
Yeah, sold by aliens. The Martians came and got them.
World's End Games. Go take a look. Happy moment. Happy moment. Thing you can touch happy. Right here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And,
And you going, 0-7-1.
Really? You had to bring that up again?
I had to.
Okay.
Because I didn't go 0-7-1. So
God, you know what? You really, it's almost, I honestly, literally, last game had chance to win, doesn't win. Like, it's destined. You're not going to win any of the games in the tournament at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anywho, thank you very much for listening to this week's Sunday News. If you liked what you saw or heard here, or if you'd like to tell us that we're completely off base and we're crazy and you think we're nuts and,
You want a table flip? Right down there, buddy.
yeah, right, it's all right down there. I promise you, if you post a comment, we will respond.
Yep.
Promise. And we'll even try to do it without table flipping back at you.
Well, this is a heavy table.
This is everything. Anywho, please like, subscribe, tell your friends. We do this because we want you guys to know what's going on. We think that you guys like hearing what we have to say, but we don't know if we do or don't if you don't tell us. And you don't tell people to come watch us. So, please. All right. I think that's about all I've got for today. You got anything else?
Oh, I'm way beyond done.
Way beyond done. Thank you very much for watching. You guys have a great time. Until next time.
He is calling out for souls, and in dreams he will promise to the powers of old. War has begun on this eve of corruption, and the days the prophets warned us of have come.
Do we want the tower in the foreground? Because I'm getting it in the foreground, the top of it.
How much of me is it missing?
Oh, the tower doesn't even come up to your beard.
Okay. And my beard comes like all the way down to here, so it's fine.
When did your beard get that long? I'm sorry. It's not that long.
Just wait.
Maybe one day. It's not yet.
It's doing better than yours.
It's because I've shaved mine. Go figure. See how that works? When you really from behind the camera, I'm getting bald jokes.
She's not doing ball jokes. She's just fixing her hair. Like that. You're just inferring because you're, tetchy.
Moving on.
No. You
I'm
respond Brian Blessing style.
Oh.
Yeah. Brian Blessed, there you go. I'm going to be happy when winter finally gets here, so my, late autumn sinuses can finally go away.
Well, no, no. Mother Nature apparently has forgotten how to winter.
Yeah. Only here.
Only here. It's winter everywhere else.
If we were in California, we'd be getting snow.
Oh, of course, yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Didn't they get like snow in Texas? Like they shut down part of the state or something?
Yep.
That's flooding.
Oh, was that flooding?
No, they had in the same day hail, blizzard, tornadoes, and flooding rains.
If I was in Texas, I would swear Armageddon had arrived.
Yeah, I forget who it was that posted it. It might have been either Arana or one of our other friends in Texas posted a meme, Texas, where you can experience all 4 seasons at once.
Yes. There was a comic I saw, I think I shared it on Facebook, where it was a guy with a gun and he goes in the first stall, and each stall had a month on it. It was like, November, December, January, and he kicks into January and there's nothing in there and he goes, "Damn it, winter, where are you?"
Yep.
I thought it was kind of funny.